Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com, and just happy to be here on a hump day, the day after we had bowling last night, and, we lost again. There you go. There's your update. We continue to we're bringing up the rear. I don't want to say we're in last place, but we're in last place. And I had one good game, and then it all fell apart. But I will say this: our CBD products are the best out there going. We're going to have a sale on that coming up. Prices are going up. Not surprising. I know Tebow Tea, another one of the great products we sell, prices are going to be heading up there as well, so get your orders in. But on our CBD side of things, we've got a sale coming up here in the next, could be in the next 20 minutes, within the next 24 hours, we'll have a sale before the price increases come along. So you guys can get those great products. It's done wonders for me. My kind CBD. It's weird. You know, it's one of those things where so many people, you know, especially with pain, arthritis. For me, my knee's shot. I got to get a new one eventually, but I can now bend over and pick up my golf ball out of, when I make a putt. And sometimes I putt like Helen Keller, but occasionally it actually goes in. I used to have my buddies, I'm not kidding, would have to get the ball out of the hole for me. Now I can do it myself. Just little things like that. If you got trouble sleeping, it's amazing what CBD does. And it really attacks the inflammation and helps the body heal. And that's really the key. You got to get rid of the inflammation first before the body can really start healing itself. Check out our products. Go to 1360KHNC, hit the shopping cart button. But again, wait. I'll let you know in the next 24 hours we're going to have a sale going. As always, I'm joined with my partner in crime, the man up in there in the mothership in Colorado. And I'm only laughing because I already know Jason's already had like 4 or 5 customers come and picking up products, so I know he had to get in there early today. Jason, good morning. Welcome, brother.
Good morning, Joe. It's a busy day. All those $50. I finally got my bags, and then I had 2 people helping me roll these bags and bags of $50, and I called the 50 or 60, 80 invoices, and they're all coming in now. So we're gonna, you guys, if you haven't answered your voicemail, I'm sure I've got you coming in. Most of them are scheduled, Joe. The great thing about the Colorado customers, they come running, man. They want it. I had 5 or 6 guys come in right after the phone calls yesterday, so they want their stuff, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know your 64 should be there today. Your 63s you need should be there today as well. So it's nonstop. Some of this stuff, it's just taking a while. I will tell you, I have no great updates on silver. Premiums, sky high availability, very, very limited right now. As an example, we ordered some silver on Monday, and they're hoping to ship it to me by next Monday. So this is the delay, a lot, and you're hearing this more and more. A lot of businesses, hey, I've got to order farther and farther ahead. I've got to anticipate farther and farther ahead because it's taking longer and longer to get products on the shelf. Same thing's happening here as well. I got a great gold item today. I actually finally got some gold in some quantities here, so it's going to be a really good day for that. Having said all that, listen, we got a lot of things happening. Gold's up a few bucks. Silver's up 10 cents. The Dow is mixed. Oil, right? We've been worried about where's oil going to be. And I will tell you this, the report, depending on what you were looking for, the main thing is how much oil is in Cushing, Oklahoma. That number fell by the fastest pace in the entire year. We did have overall crude inventories rise about 3 million barrels, but in Cushing, Oklahoma, the actual inventories there fell 3.5 million more barrels. And Jason, we're getting awfully close now. I think we're just at this pace, and it's been pretty consistent what's been happening. There was people still drawing oil out of the strategic oil reserve. Oil production is still not back to where it was before the hurricanes. So there's a lot of things happening that aren't good. But the headline number was a build. So today, oil's getting a little reprieve because, listen, these algorithms, they're not that smart. They saw a crude build. They wanted to sell some crude oil today. I've got a really, really bad feeling that they're going to look at these inventory levels tomorrow and Friday and Monday and start to worry here already, just already. The inventory levels in Cushing, Oklahoma, which is where most of the refiners get their products. And I'm not just talking about crude, gasoline, diesel fuel, jet fuel, plastics, and all of that other stuff that gets produced all comes out of Cushing. We're going to see spikes in the spot market and all of that. But right now, at least on the plus side, crude oil's down 1% today. Not huge, but we'll take it. I don't think it's going to last on the negative side. When we get back, we got a lot of ground to cover. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592. We got so many things to talk about. I'm going to I don't want to go too fast because I want to give each of these things their due here. And Jason's got some stuff as well, but really quickly, housing. We've discussed housing prices. We've discussed the inflationary impacts of that. But there's more problems happening in the housing market. Housing construction costs have now spiked the most since 1979. So think about this. This is the most in over 40 years. And this is just the cost of constructing homes out there. They're saying now there's shortages of windows. The glazing. Right, so these windows, there's that energy efficient coat or what have you, has now been going on for months. According to the home builders out there, 63% of current construction delays of home builders are due to a shortage of windows. Lead times that were normally 2 to 3 weeks, now 4 to 15 weeks. For certain products, Jason, 20 to 45 weeks. 45 weeks! I mean, that's almost a year that certain products they'll have to wait for.
That's going to slow things down.
How? Again, all of this is just baffling.
Makes me understand why my housing area suddenly in February just picked up and went light speed instead of just kind of hanging out and doing it slowly.
Right?
They just started going crazy. Somebody on the bigger end of the building figured it out first, and we better get ours done quick.
Now they're saying glass shortages are starting to pop up. And not just windows, glassware, light fixtures, glass doors, shower doors. We just had, on the Half Empty Cup of Show yesterday, we had Glass Doctors on with us, and he was talking about shower doors. They do a lot of shower doors, and he was like, there's one part that is seemingly unobtainable, and you can't put the shower door in without these parts, and you can't finish houses without the showers. But again, it's not just that. How about lumber? Remember lumber? Remember when it spiked and then it fell back down, and Jay Powell used that as a transitory thing. Well, guess what? high lumber prices are back. Prices climbing amid tight supply. Western Canada seeing reduced output. Of course, here, we don't like to cut down any trees anymore. But they're now saying on Tuesday, so this was yesterday, $735.70 per 1,000 board feet. Now, I want to say it got to, I know it was over 1,000. I want to say it got to like 11 or 1,200 at the peak. But it's more than double the 5-year average, which is about $350 per 1,000 board feet. And right now they're saying that they expect lumber costs to stay elevated throughout the rest of 2021, throughout 2022, and the foreseeable future. So again, all of this stuff, none of it's getting any better, right? They just want to pretend that it was going to go away. And again, we talked about this on there. We told you the end of this year, lumber prices were going to soar back again. And lo and behold, Jason, here we are once again.
And it kind of rules out the idea that there'll be a housing price crash, or at least substantial, Joe, because
let me tell you,
too expensive to build them. Too expensive to build them now.
Too expensive to build them. When you think about, and again, think about what the message was. The biggest increase in cost since the 70s. And we're hearing that over and over and over and over again. We've had companies like Procter & Gamble and P&G and Unilever. Well, I guess Procter & Gamble and P&G, same company. But Kimberly-Clark, that was the other one. I'll get it. All of them talking about we haven't seen this type of inflation. A lot of people, let's face it, in the 70s, I was just a little kid. Right? A lot of people out there, they weren't even born yet. And think about it. These are the guys that are in charge of buying all this product, and they're just, all of them have the same message. We can't raise prices fast enough, Jason. It just seems like to be a recurring theme out there from all of these companies out there. They all have the same thing to say, which is, hey, we raised prices, but then when we went to order more, it was even more expensive, so we raised prices again, and then we went to order it again, and it was even more expensive. Now we got to raise prices again.
Yeah, I don't think they're expecting prices to go down, Joe. And we'll talk later about it, but you said unrealized profits is the new thing, and we'll talk about later. And things aren't going to go down in price. Wow, that's a scary thing on the horizon, Joe.
Yeah, and that's the part that again, I don't know where does it stop, where does it end, and that's what we don't know. And we're just sitting here watching all of this play out, and I thought that maybe the housing thing was going to get better. And now all of a sudden they're saying, hey, wait a minute. It's getting worse again. And it's different things, right? Remember, they have hard times getting dishwashers, washers, dryers, refrigerators. Now they're saying, listen, we got trouble getting windows. Some products now they're saying, hey, we're a year out. That's amazing to me, Jason.
Well, it's starting to become not surprising, Joe, because it just, once you start down a path that things just look worse and worse each day, you start to expect, well, the only question is how fast is it going to get worse? And that just seems to be where we're at. Yeah,
exactly. And I know you want now, Jason, before the show, hey, I got some things. He didn't want to tell me what it was. He's like, you know what? I don't want to ruin it. I want to get your honest reaction. So
I got two things, Joe. It's the second one's not huge. These are things that make you go, It makes you think. So I was with my wife yesterday, and I'll go over the whole restaurant thing some other time, maybe late in the show. But when we were driving around together last night from dinner, we were talking about what Joe and I have been talking about, which you scratch your head, you're trying to figure out what is going on. 100 ships out in the ocean, Okay, and they can't get them unloaded fast enough. That's the story, and it's on the national news. Once it's on the mega media, well, they want you to see that, which you don't want to show ships out there unloaded. That's a bad indicator, unless there's a reason to have to show you this stuff. Why do they want us to see those ships? And then we had Steve Mitchell on, which Joe had mentioned, and he had said he had some longshoremen and some crane operators in California, guys he knows, and he says they're sitting there, they're not working, they're not unloading stuff. And I'm sure ships are being unloaded, but he says he's got guys he knows that are sitting there and they're not working. I was talking to Brooke, my wife. My wife came up with this. It's a theory. There's no evidence, but Brian and I can start looking. We're gonna start looking at these ships now. If you're out there, start looking at these ships sitting out there. My wife said something, Joe, that's to me is a very scary idea. What if there's nothing on those ships? Just because they're sitting there doesn't mean there's stuff in them, Joe. Think about it.
That's true. I will say this, so and it's interesting because there was an article yesterday, and we talked about it a little bit, where certain truck drivers were like, "This is ridiculous. We're here, and we sit here for hours. Sometimes we go a whole day and don't get a load." Longshoremen saying that because there's rules, right? Like everything. Oh, no, this rule and that rule and blah, blah, blah. That, yes, they actually could be more productive, but the rules are preventing them. So kind of what Steve was saying, hey, I'm here. I could load up another 20, 30, 40 trucks, but there's a rule, and I'm not allowed to.
Well, and Joe, and think about this.
And to your point, though, go ahead, Jason.
Well, I was just say, think about this. People are seeing shelves that are empty again, partially empty, more empty than they should be. And what would keep the average American calm about empty shelves? Well, there's 100 ships sitting out there. They'll get it to us eventually. Not if there's nothing.
I think it's the opposite. So I'm going the other one. They're screaming about shortages, created more shortages.
Right, but if you think the shelves are going to go empty, you go panic buy. But if there's 100 ships sitting out there, the average American that doesn't listen to this show is going to think, well, they'll get it on the shelves eventually. It's sitting right there.
Right. It's close, right?
Unless it's not there, Joe. Unless it's not there, what are you gonna fill the shelves with?
This is why I love Jason. Jason, he's got a little Eric in him with these off the wall ideas you're just like, holy crap! Could you imagine? Right? And who knows? Maybe these ships are sitting there with empty containers.
Remember the Rockefellers in the 1800s to be a monopoly on the oil. They bought all the barrels and kept them empty, Joe, to dominate the oil industry.
Driving up the price of it. We talked about how much it costs for shipping containers. I mean, it's just outrageous.
Shipping containers are expensive. Maybe someone's buying them all, Joe. And they're just.
You know what I'd love to know? I'd love to know because you saw all those like building off the grid, and they have shipping containers and they turn them into houses. There's a place here in Phoenix. It's somewhere downtown. They built a small apartment complex with storage containers, and I'm just curious. I wonder what they cost right now. I know just to send one across the ocean, it's like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. So I'm just curious to me.
Yeah, when Brooke said that, I was thinking like, why haven't we asked that question? And when I told Brian last night about Brooke's idea, Brian's like, well, we got to see how high up in the oceans are, because if they're full, they should be weighted down. But some of the pictures I'm looking at, Joe, they look like they're sitting pretty high up in the water. They don't look very heavy. So now we got to get some guys out there looking at these ships, seeing are they sitting as a full ship or are they sitting like an empty ship?
That is wow. I don't know. I hope not. I hope that is not true. But I would not put anything past anybody. How about this one? Another non-transitory sign: Costco. Which I will say this: my wife and I, since we become empty nesters. I can't tell. I haven't been into a Costco since my boys were home for a little bit this summer. That's the I don't even remember going in one. She was like, she started saying, "Hey, I'm going to get rid of our Costco membership because that's it. I don't need that big huge thing of toilet paper. That'll last me forever." Costco. We used to buy the milk at Costco because you got like 3 cartons in the box. I think that'd be like a year's supply for us. But nonetheless, Costco saying it's raising its starting wage. So this is the guy getting the shopping carts to $17 an hour. And Jason, that went into effect 2 days ago, effective immediately. Costco, which raised its minimum wage to $16 an hour in February, like everything else, said, "Hey, that's not enough." $17. Problem is, I got a funny feeling in February of 2020, Jason, they're going to make it 18.
Maybe 20.
Maybe, right?
I mean,
that's usually how it works. Hey, we'll bump it up $1. We'll bump it up $1. Wait, that's not working. Let's bump it up $2. Then we'll bump it up $4. Then we'll bump it up $8. I mean, where does all of this craziness end? Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. (800-951-0592) Patriot Radio News Hour. Man, I don't even know where to go. I so many different places. Thanksgiving. By the way, my favorite of the holidays, Thanksgiving. I love the Thanksgiving turkey, and for years now I've shared with you the Thanksgiving strategy. And I'm gonna share it with you. I know it's not even Halloween yet, and I'm talking Thanksgiving, but the backup turkey. The key to Thanksgiving is getting invited to somebody else's house. Okay, that's the key. And then what you do is you put a turkey in your oven. That does 2 things. First, it puts a time frame for how long you have to stay at the house that you were invited to. Right, guy? I gotta go. I got a turkey in the oven. Second, when you get the leftovers, right? It's always the cranberry sauce and maybe there's some mashed potatoes or tons of stuffing, right? And you barely, if you're lucky, you get a couple of scraps of turkey. Now, hey, you know what? Give the turkey to everybody else. Because you've got the backup turkey at home. And that way you can have turkey sandwiches all week long, Jason. But I will say this, the cost this year for Thanksgiving, the highest on record.
Hopefully you got one frozen already.
Right. But the backup turkey, it's genius. I'm just saying. I think it is. As long as the house doesn't burn down.
I think you've inspired many listeners to do the same, Joe, I'm sure. Because I remember listening to that.
It was so brilliant when it finally came to me. We've talked a little bit here and there, and this is a little bit not the inflation stuff. We got coffee doubled in price. Don't worry. Social Security. And the Biden administration has put together a proposal. They're calling it's a new version called Social Security 2100. That's what it's called. Social Security 2100. Unfortunately, it makes it sound like, hey, we'll make it solvent to year 2100. That's not what it does. But
sounds bad. It sounds bad.
But I want you to know that this is coming. And I know we're talking inflation, this and that. If we have another 5, 6, 7, 8%, dare I say, cost of living adjustment again next year, that trust fund is going to be out of money so fast. Of course, there's no money in it anyway, but neither here nor there. I wanted to give you an update of what they're proposing. So they're saying that the bill will extend the date as to when they need to rework Social Security. So in other words, forget about when the trust fund runs out of money, okay? Just erase that. And we're going to set a new date of 2038. So as it sits right now, I think, what was the latest report? They said Social Security could go to 2033 or 2032. I can't remember which. But remember, that's a lie. Because Medicare and Medicaid run out of money in like 3 years. So what they do when these programs run out of money, they shift some of that other money over, like Social Security disability insurance. That ran out of money like 4 years ago. So they had to shift money into it. But neither here nor there, what they want to do is say, hey, it doesn't matter when it runs out of money. Right? Let's just say we've got to 2038 to do something. And I think that's a great plan. Because all that really happens is right now, like Social Security doesn't even have enough money to pay for itself right now. And as I told you, there is no trust fund. It's just an accounting trick. All it really does is just get added on to the national debt. So what? We'll just keep adding it onto the national debt to 2038 before we have to come up with a plan. Now, we've known about Social Security running out of money going all the way back to the 80s. Right? Remember, we created a plan. They came up with a plan. It actually would have worked had they not spent the money. So pretty interesting. But inside of the plan, besides that, here's what they'd like to do. Now, remember, this is a Democratic plan. Benefits would be set at a new higher minimum level of 125% above the poverty line and tied to current wage levels. So that does two things, right? Wages are going up, and we're going to give out more minimum benefits. Now, remember, this is supposed to be they don't have enough money problem. So usually when you don't have enough money, Jason, you talk about ways to spend less money. Not if you're a Democrat. Well, let's face it, Republican too, anybody that's up there. The benefits would boost benefits for both new and existing beneficiaries, right? Obviously, that makes sense. Annual cost of adjustments, the COLA, they want to move it from where it is right now, right? Right now it's attached to that fake CPI number. And as I've told all of you, listen, they've got 1 million numbers. They actually have the real inflation number. They just won't share it. But, Jason, I just learned about this. Did you know that there's a consumer price index for elderly people?
No.
Yes, it's called the CPI-E. CPI-E. And they want to use that number, which also happens to be, because remember, the central bank, they use the lowest number possible, the fakest number possible. So this consumer price index for the elderly, that's a higher number. So they're going to use that. So once again, that means what? More money. They also want, it's kind of, it's so amazing. They also want to do a little bit more as far as benefits for spouses, widows, widowers, and pension income. Right now, if you get a pension from the government, you don't get Social Security. They want to change that. Again, more money coming out. Here's the pay part. They want to raise the current amount of tax. Because remember, Social Security is a tax from 6.2 to 7.4% over the next 20 years. That's not going to do anything, by the way. I'll get to the last part of it next. You're going to love it. It's going to be great. 1-800-951-0592. I know our central bank idiotic plans are just that idiotic, right? We know this. You guys can't create endless amounts of debt and have there be no repercussions, and we're seeing that now. But this just is another example where our education system has completely failed us. Here we are, the most educated societies in the history of the world. We got more people running around with college diplomas than ever before. And Jason, they can't even do basic math.
I think we were much more.
Social Security's going to run out of money. I got a great idea. Let's spend even more of it. Then we're going to raise taxes just a little bit. But we're going to do that over 20 years. It's ridiculous.
I think
but still, even if they...
Joe, I think we were more educated in the 1800s, Joe. I think we've been dumbed down so bad, Joe, so that we can believe anything. We're gullible.
Yeah, well, that's probably about right. Right? The high school diploma in the 1800s is probably a master's degree today, at least. I wouldn't doubt that. I know you had a whole heck of a lot more common sense, that's for sure. But here is the big part. Here's what they really want to do. So right now, you pay Social Security taxes on the first, like $143,000. Next year, it goes to $147,000. In this plan, they want you to pay it all the way up to $400,000. Again, I thought they weren't going to tax anybody making less than $400,000 a year. That's not true, right? They're going to get it one way or another. So there is some money in there, but very, very, very little. And of course, when you look at all the spending, it only would make the problem that much worse and not better. And that's really the problem, because you can't go from 6.2 to 7.4. And then, of course, if you're self-employed, that's 14.8. It probably really, if the Democrats wanted their way, it probably need to be somewhere near 25% to actually pay for it, Jason.
Well, there's other ways to pay for it, Joe. I got one thing I'll bring on. So something I got in the mail is one way I think they're going to pay for it, and the other way is what you brought on yesterday, unrealized profits. Because as soon as you brought that on the air, I didn't know what that was. I started digging into it. So just one day of just poking around. What the proposal you mentioned, I think, is for what I saw is aimed at the 700 most richest people in the country, or companies, whatever, and they can bring in trillions of dollars, Joe, based off this thing. Sounds a lot like the high interest rates, the high tax rates in the 70s, right? 90%.
I want to warn everybody out there, because they got to pay their fair share and all this other nonsense. Because when it comes to federal income tax, they still pay the most. But neither here nor there. We're kind of arguing that it's just like guns. Today, hey, we're only going to start with 700 or 7,000 people. It's just a matter of time. Because the spending isn't getting better. It's just getting worse. All this they want to do is, they want to spend even more money. We're going $3 trillion in debt a year. Heck, we don't even know how much debt we have right now, because they still are in this emergency period. But we're somewhere between $29 and $30 trillion right now, and they want to spend more. So they're coming up with a way. How can we tax people to where we can get close enough to say, it's going to pay for itself? We know it won't. But they just want to get the more part covered. And I'm going to tell you, be careful what you wish for. Yes, it sounds great. We're going to tax the unrealized gains of all of these rich people.
Just to start.
And as you know, they'll come up with this number that they're going to be able to collect. And let's use Jason's number, $5 trillion over 10 years. you can probably make a very safe assumption that it's likely to garner $500 billion, maybe $1 trillion, because all of the rich guys, you know what they're going to do, right? They're just going to figure out a way around it. Pretty simple, we know that. But again, the bigger issue is it always starts there. And then next thing you know, what happens, Jason? We're just going to do it for everybody. You know what? From here on out, you had your Charles Schwab account, and in that account, it had $40,000, and at the end of the year, it had $50,000, and I know you haven't sold any of it, but that's $10,000. We're going to stick it onto your income, and you're going to pay the tax. One way or another. And if any of you out there actually believe this is where they intend to stop with this, you're crazy. This is just what they can sell to the American public today, because they've got everyone, oh yeah, billionaires got to pay. Bezos and Musk and Gates and Buffett, they've got to pay.
Yeah, and I think they're setting up some emergency ways of paying for this too, Joe. And on the next segment, before we finish it out, I'll let you tell you. I got a letter from Wells Fargo, and then I'll let you react to what you think this means, because I think it means really bad stuff happening really soon. Wells Fargo, what's Jason? Oh boy,
I'm actually scared to death right now. All right, we're going to be right back. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment. Coming up here on this Wednesday, we got a gold special. We'll try to get in there as well. Eight 800-951-0592. This is the best special we've had as far as quantities go. We've got 100. I love saying that, $120 Liberties, and the price gets even better. $2,095. So we already got them on sale from yesterday at $21.25. No, we're going lower. $2,095. We've got 100 of them at 800-951-0592. Listen, gold's up almost $4 now, back to $17.96 and rising. I think gold's going to finish out the week pretty strong. We're probably going to see gold above 1,800 on its way to 1,830. And I promise you this, I've got a bad feeling 20s by the end of the week. If I'm right, and who knows, I don't know, I can't see the future. But if I'm right, these things are going to be 2150 by Friday. So 2,095, I got a bunch of them here, a lot of different dates if you're into that as well. 800-951-0592. And then, Jason, you got a letter from Wells Fargo.
Absolutely. And I'll say something about gold right now. If you want private assets that nobody knows you own, this is really maybe the time in American history to have it. You guys, the urgency to buy gold is now. The stuff that we're coming up with. Wells Fargo sent this letter, and people see it. You get these offers, but this one caught me as being very strange, Joe. They're going to give me $700 to open up an account. And I guess that's what a toaster costs, I guess. So, but I got to meet two requirements, Joe. Okay, and I'm going to go down to the date first, because there's a date. It has to be done. They want this done, and so this is to a resident. So they don't even know who I am, but they're sending out to people that they believe can meet the requirements. December 10th, 2021. This has to be done. You have to meet two requirements. You must use the bonus offer code below when opening the account, and you must have a $25 deposit. And once again, the date's on here 3 times. December 10, 2021. December 10, 2021. Requirement number 2, Joe. You must have at least $50,000 ending daily balance in your new checking account after the 30th day of opening, and after the 90th day of opening the account. So let's go 90 days. Let's see, November 10th. January 10th, February 10th, March 10th. Get you right past that February 22nd date that I'm always talking about. Why do they want you to have 50 grand? Now, I think the average guy that has 50 grand, Joe, $700 is 1.5%. That's better interest that you're going to get anywhere else for 90 days, right? So
let me tell you right now, you're 90. I promise you this: a 90-day T-bill doesn't pay 1.5%. Heck, it doesn't even pay 0.5%.
But why do they want that money in there for that 90-day frame? What do they know, Joe, that's going to happen in 90 days? That's what I read into this.
Jason has a feeling about February 22nd, 2022. And this is just one of these things. I know that all of the lower G phones, those flip phones and all that, they're going to be out of service at that time, right, Jason?
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of we'll talk about it. The show is ending now. We packed it. We're going to have another good one tomorrow, but we'll revisit this. But, Joe, it's...
We'll revisit. There's so much. $20 gold pieces, $2,095, 800-951-0592. The half-empty cup of Joe coming up next.